Talk to me, or about transportation. There got to be a lot of different ways to travel around here.
Remember, I keep reminding people I'm not talking about earth, okay?
Yeah.
Earth is a shadow in heaven, which means it says in the Bible that heaven is a country and a city. So that's why we have city areas and we have country areas. It's because heaven does.
Really?
And the transportation, they have kiosks. Like it would, maybe 12 people could step into it. It's like a big frame-like thing, and light is shooting out, and you step into the beams, and they will take you to the other side of heaven instantly. That is one way I've experienced that. Another way is when you begin to worship, your worship is visible. Your song, the words are visible, ribbons of color intertwine with your words when you worship, and you're caught up and you actually ride on that worship all the way into the throne room.
You ride up on the worship that you just
sing as you're singing.
Wow.
You're riding on that worship, and there's like ribbons of color. Like when people sing now in a meeting, I see ribbons of color coming out of their mouth.
Really?
The same thing with instruments, and because I'm a seer, so this is in the spirit realm what you're creating. And heaven, it's a substance. It's something you use.
And you can see it on earth now, right?
Yes, I can.
I got to ask this, because I was talking to somebody in the studio before before this program, and we were talking about there are times when we worship God, we don't even feel like worshiping.
Yes.
But we know we're supposed to worship because he's worthy of our praise, so that's like a sacrifice of praise. And I have felt like, to me, it must not be worth that much because it's not flowing from me. I'm doing it as a sacrifice.
Maybe it doesn't sound so beautiful, right? But it's coming from your heart. And you're honoring God in the highest way, in your worst day.
In the highest way.
Yeah, in the highest way, because when your worst days, you're worshiping him anyway. You're very dangerous against hell when that happens. No, when worship happens on the earth normally, it is collected, number one, by angels a lot of times, but it also goes up through the atmosphere, and it's put into the bowls before the altar of God, and it creates an incense. Well, that sacrifice of praise is the most beautiful incense in the throne room when someone's doing that, but it also creates a weapon. As you do that, when you say that, you're worthy anyway, you are my God, and I will not serve another, you are it. Missiles come out of your mouth, and they go up through the second heaven where Satan has this little mock kingdom set up, and you actually blow up parts of it. I mean, really, it explodes. They have to try to rebuild all the time.
Really?
And so you're very dangerous against hell. And your worst days, we should always worship God, especially on those days.
Literally, this has never been taught to me. So, I'm just going to say back to you what I just heard. When I'm having a cruddy day and I feel like doing nothing, there is this massive, like, atomic nuclear power. If I say, Lord, you're worthy anyway, I just feel empty, but nevertheless, you're worthy. You're saying missiles are flying out at that point.
Yeah, it's like missiles of light. They fly out of your mouth straight up to heaven, and on the way up to heaven, they hit Satan's little mock kingdom in the second heaven.
Awesome.
And literally whatever is in the way blows up. It will blow up. He's got these mock streets of gold that look horrible. He's got his trophy rooms he's got there. He's got his throne sits on a mountain of skulls, literally. And whatever's there is going to blow up. So he's already patching and repairing everything. And so he didn't think that. He didn't think anybody would worship God if he was trying to rule over them or crush them down.
And you're saying that actually is also a sweet smelling aroma to the Lord.
That aroma. I've been in the throne room when people were worshiping, and I knew somebody was having a really hard time. The aroma increases. It's like it comes into you like life. You can see it like wafts of light. And oh my gosh, the aroma, and the Father's just receiving that praise. It's very precious to him.
That is amazing. I had heard this concept of it being important to the Lord when Ann Elmer wrote, we published a book called Transported by the Lion of Judah, where she was riding on the lion, and God took her to a place where there was this the term was very dry not very powerful worship, but they were doing the best they knew because they didn't have the what we might even consider the full gospel. And the Lions said, this is one of my favorite places to go because
See? There you go.
I can't even fathom that it's like everything's turned upside down, that when it was the hardest
Yes.
to worship and the driest, God is like loving it and appreciating
That's
it the
right.
most. Because we're looking, at times like that, I'm looking at someone up there dancing in the Spirit and they're flowing and going, and you think, boy, wouldn't it be nice to worship like that? But God's looking at it differently.